26th of August, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Shavua, Kisavo.
Okay. I'm not being seen.
Add it on.
Why am I not being seen? I'm glad they did that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We were middle of this long Rashi.
Did we get anything from?
Yeah, Kisachal. We're on Pasuk Yud Beis. Okay, now we finished there the first long Rashi over here. Basically, I'll just quickly summarize it. Basically, Rashi's saying this first of all, let me make it done. This Parsha is saying that when you complete tithing the produce of the first of this 3-year cycle, i.e. either the first, second, and third year, or the fourth, fifth, and sixth year of the agricultural cycle, right? Now that means, just 1 second. Okay. Once you then this passage is telling you you've got to make a proclamation, or shall we say an affirmation. And this is the next passage going to say, "V'amartu lifnei Hashem Elokecha bi'arti hakodesh min habayis." Okay. Yeah. So this is what this passage now Rashi is explaining. When is that? When are you going to make this declaration? When are you going to complete tithing? Says Rashi, that's Erev Pesach of the 4th year, or Pesach of the 4th year. It's actually Machlokas, is it Erev Pesach or Erev Shvi Shel Pesach? But just Rashi just says, yeah, Rashi actually says it. Klazman Abiyah Vavidu be'Erev HaPesach Shel Shona Ravis. Rashi's of the opinion goes Erev Pesach. Upon him, when you come to Erev Pesach for the 4th year, and similarly, obviously, for the 4th, 5th, and 6th year, when it's Erev Pesach of the 7th year, then you have to make this, you've got to make sure to, all the required recipients have received their particular truma or maisa, or whatever it may be, and then you make this declaration. And Rashi says, how do I know this? It means it's the end, it's Erev Pesach for the 4th year, because in Parshas Re'eh it says, Miksei Sholosh Shoni. Yeah, that Perek Yud Dalet, Perek Yud Dalet, Pasuk Chof Ches. Miksei Sholosh Shonim Totzi Es Kol Ma'asat Tvos Kol Bashona Hi V'nachto B'Shorecha. ובא הלוי כן אוכל בנחל עמך, והגה ויוסף המון אשר בשעריך, ואוכלו בשבעהו, למען יברך השם אלוקיך בחומסי, אותך אשר תעשה. So you've got to give, the pasuk is telling you, you've got to give all the required recipients what they're supposed to get. And this parsha over here tells you when you do that, when you make sure you finished complete tithing all your produce, then you've got to make a declaration. That's the next pasuk. Okay, so basically Rashi's just explained over here how we get to the fact that it's Erev Pesach of the 4th year. Okay, now, next Rashi. Lou, you're still in the middle. I think you were reading this passage. Am I correct?
Yes, I was reading this passage.
Right, so let's be on the second Rashi here.
Shnas Hama'aseh, the year of the tithe.
What pasuk?
What?
What pasuk?
It's Pasuk Yud Beis, Pasuk 12.
Chapter 26, Pasuk 12. Shana she'ein noheg ba ela maaser echad.
Okay?
It's a
Yeah.
year
This one is, yeah.
in which there is not applicable in it
Ella only.
except
Means
one.
one Maisa. Means, well, in English you would translate Ein Noeg Bo Ella means it's only that only one of the tithes that are applied in the other years applies in this year. Shona, this is the year, She'ein Noeg Bo Ella Maisa Echad, only one tithe, Mishnei Maisres Shenogu Bishtei Shonim Lefanea. From the two types of tithes which are practiced in the 2 years before it. And don't forget, we're describing what the third year is. The third year is the year of the tithe. So Rashi is trying to explain that. What does that mean, the year of the tithe? So Rashi says it means that in the third year, only one of the tithes that applied in the previous 2 years applies now in this year. Now Rashi goes on to explain. Shoshana Rishona. Carry on. You have it?
In the first year, Ushniya
Ushniya.
Mita
And second year.
of the Shemitah, Noheg Bahen Ser Rishon. The first tithe applies. Amar, as it says, Ki Sikhu Me Ace B'nai Yisrael Es Hamaaser. When from the children of Israel, the tithe.
Right.
Umaser Sheni, and the second tithe, Shene Amar, as it says, V'achalta livnei Hashem Elokecha maaser.
Ma'asar Degonacho Tiroshcha Yitzorach.
Tirscha
Tiroshcha.
Arecha.
Okay.
And that means, and you will eat before Hashem your God the tithe of your grain, your wine, and your oil.
Right. So
Hooray,
you see that.
Ma'as.
So the pasuk, this pasuk tells you, the first pasuk, actually Rashi only quotes part of the pasuk, but it says, the previous pasuk from Bamidbar, he says, Ki sikhu meis b'nei Yisrael es ha'maaser. When you turn from the b'nei Yisrael es ha'maaser, this is referring to the Levi. The pasuk is addressing the Levi. The Levi says, when you take the maaser from the b'nei Yisrael, then you have to give a tithe of that tithe, which is maaser min ha'maaser. The Levi is obliged to give a tenth of what he receives from the Yisrael. He has to give that to the Kohen. And that's called Ma'aseh min ha'ma'aseh. Okay?
Shnei Ma'asros. Behold, 2 tithes.
Yes, so you see, the Torah is telling you in a regular year, you have to separate 2 tithes. One to give to the Levi, and one to be eaten in Yerushalayim. Ubo, carry on.
The limed on. And it comes to teach here, Bashana Hashlishis, the third year, She'ein Noeg Me Osan Shnei Ma'asros Ella Ha-Echad. That those 2 tithes, of those 2 tithes, only one applies.
Right.
the Ezeh,
And which one is that?
this, Zeh Maaser Rishon. This is the first tithe. The Tachas Maaser Sheni, and instead of the second tithe, Yitain Maaser Ani. He gives the tithe of the poor. Shnei Amar, as it says, Khan over here, Binasan Levi, and you will have given to the Levite. Es Asher Lo, that which is his. Hare Maaser Rishon. Behold, this is the first tithe. Lager la Yasom the la almana, to the convert, the orphan and the widow. That's referring to Ani. This is the tithe of the poor.
Right? This is referring to the poor because who generally people, converts and orphans and widows are generally are in the poorer income brackets.
I understand the orphan and the widow, but why would the convert be in the poor bracket?
That's a good question. It could well be because he's been, whatever business he may have had when he was a goy, he's now left that all and now has to build himself up again.
Or maybe because he was a slave.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. On the first of all, no, the truth is when he gets set free, a Canaanite servant gets set free.
Has to be given wherewithal from the owner.
Yeah, 1 second. I don't know actually, why is the ger? I don't know. If you hold on 1 second. I guess, I mean, the classic case of a ger is that somebody comes from foreign country, decides to join the Jewish people, but he doesn't have, he's left everything behind.
Right. V'achlu bisarecha
Bisharecha,
v'saveu. And they have eaten in your cities and been satisfied. Ten lahem kedei an. Give to them in order to satisfy them. Mikan amru, from here they said, Ein pochasim, ein pochasim le'ani bagoren patchos mechetzi kav hitim v'chulahu. Do not give to a poor person at the threshing floor less than half of a kav of wheat, etc.
right. So what it means is that you've got to give, for instance, truma, technically, you can give to the kohen, even minadoraisa, even the smallest amount. Well, we say lemaisa, you give, an average person gives 2%, a 50th, and the generous person gives a 40th, and a more stingy person gives a 60th. But here the Torah is telling you, so you're going to have a whole bunch of, you've got your Maisa Oni, which is actually a finite amount. Now, how am I going to divide it up? I'm going to divide it up to the Ani. And let's say, you give an example. It's 1,000 kilo of grain. Okay? Now, I could divide it up among 5,000 aniyim, and each one will get 200 grams. It's not very much. Or I could divide it up among 500 aniyim, and they'll each one get 2 kilograms. It's a nice amount. It's a generous amount. So the Torah tells you, you can divide it up as you wish, but as long as each ani will get kedei svia, kedei siva, means the amount that will satisfy them. There's no point in giving an ani, just a few grains or a single fruit or something like that, a tiny amount, because there's not much you can benefit from it. So the Torah tells you, when you divide up the Maisa Ani, divide it up in such a way that each Ani will receive a decent amount that will be enough to satisfy him, meaning it will be enough to satiate him for one meal, that is. How much did you say there? Mikidei Sova.
Half a kav.
Okay?
But a kav is a fairly large amount, isn't it?
A kav, yes. Kav is a shisha cabin in a saw. And each kav is made up of a loig. Shisha cabin, 4 loigin, I think. And Revi'is haloig is 150 cubic centimeters. So a loig is about 600 cubic centimeters. And a kav is 4 times that. It's 1.2, 1,200 cubic centimeters. How much is 1,200 cubic centimeters?
Cubic centimeter is a
cubic, don't forget, it's a cubic measure. 1,200 cubic centimeters.
A liter.
Sorry?
A cubic centimeter is 1,000th of a liter.
Right. So if you have 1,200 cubic centimeters, it's 1.2 liters. If you're having liquid measure, if it's dry measure, it's not quite equivalent to 1.2 kilo, but it's something in that range.
Yeah, so it's not that much. It's a reasonable amount.
Yeah, it's a nice amount to have to make for one meal, maybe more than one meal, but it's not a huge amount. But this is the minimum he has to give to each owner. Who comes. In other words, it's a guide to the farmer how to divide up his Maisa among the poor people.
Right.
Rather than each one a tiny amount, or rather than giving just a few individuals a very large amount. So it tells you, divide it up, that each oni will get kedei siva, which is a kav of produce, of grain. That make sure each oni gets at least a kav, and then you can divide it up as you wish. Okay. Now, how does it carry on over here? The Atzah.
Where are you reading?
Do you have that next thing? I think it's misplaced over here.
I finished 12.
Yeah, I also thought so. 1 second. There's another piece of Rashi over here.
Not in my.
And I don't know if I have it actually in my Rashi translation either. Just 1 second. Okay. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just got the wrong plastic over here. Just 1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry, I got mixed up because I was looking Parshas Ray. I'm sorry. Okay, continue now. Steve, would you like to read Pasuk Yud Gimel?
Okay, I am unmuted. Let's see. That's interesting. You're dead. Okay. Marta Lifnei Hashem Elokecha, and you shall say, declare before Hashem your God, Ba'arati Kodesh,
Bi'arti HaKodesh Min Habayis.
Ba'arti Kodesh Min Habayit. I've taken out or gotten rid of.
I have removed.
That's good. That much, yeah, I have removed the head dish. Does any
Kodesh literally means the holy items. It's referring specifically to the holy foods, right? I've removed the holy produce from the house.
My house. The gam natativ the Levi, and I have also given to the Levi, the Lager, and to the proselyte, the Tom, the orphan, the almanah, the widow, Kikol mitzvotecha, all that I have been commanded, Asher Tzivitani.
You have, like all your commandments that you have commanded me.
That I've been commanded. Lo,
that you have commanded me. Okay?
You have commanded me. Lo avarti mitzvotecha. I have not transgressed any of your mitzvahs. Lo shechachati, nor, and I haven't forgotten. Let's see what that. Okay. Let's see.
Okay. That's a question. I've given it to the Levi, to the convert, and to the orphan, and to the widow. I have not transgressed your commandments, and I did not forget. Rashi is going to explain what that is referring to.
And I said or declared before Hashem your God.
You shall say to Hashem your God.
Hitvadei shenatat masrotecho. and you make an oath, a declaration that I've given your miser, your
That you have given your mistress. Okay? So by the way, I mentioned this already with regard to the terminology vidui bikurim, and you have here vidui mistress. Vidui does not mean confession. Vidui means affirmation. It comes from the root of vadai. Vadai means for sure. You're affirming what your this particular situation. You're affirming the fact that you have separated all your mistress and you did it in the proper way. Okay?
Yeah, the Arte HaKodesh in the Bayit, I've removed from my house all the sacred foods. This is my Sheni, Neter and Neter Ravai, the fruits of the fourth year.
Right. So explain just for a second. Fruit of the trees. A person plants a tree, for the first 3 years, the fruits are forbidden. They have to be thrown out and actually, I think it'll be burnt, right? It's not Minan Kabarim, it's Minan Israfil. Yeah, or as Minan Israfil. They've got to be burnt. What I want to say, yeah. So therefore, the first 3 years, the produce of the first 3 years, that's out, finished. It's destroyed. What happens to the produce of the fourth year? So the Torah tells you, don't eat it straight away for yourself. The produce of the fourth year, you've got to take it up to Yerushalayim and eat it in Yerushalayim. Just like you do Ma'aser Sheni. Okay? That's what Rashi is referring to. Now, both Ma'aser Sheni and Neter Ravai are called Kodesh because they have a Kedusha, they have a holiness, that you can't just eat it anywhere. You've got to eat it, you've got to take it and bring it to Yerushalayim. And we mentioned this before, that if a person has a lot of produce, then he can redeem the value of the produce onto money, and therefore then subsequently the produce is no longer has this kedusha. It doesn't have, that produce itself does not have to be eaten in Yerushalayim. But what you should do with it is take the money up to Yerushalayim, and in Yerushalayim use that money to buy food. In fact, the Rambam says a very interesting thing, and I'm not sure it's based on the Medrash or not. The Rambam says, what's the whole idea? Why did the Torah command us to have, to separate Ma'aser Sheni and Neter Ravai? Is that farmer, you have this produce. Now, this Ma'aser Sheni or Neter Ravai is far too much for him just to go for his Pesach or Sukkot trip up to Yerushalayim and eat it all there. It's much more than that. So what will he do? That the farmer, he sends his son to yeshiva in Yerushalayim. He sends his son to learn in Yerushalayim. And the Ma'aser Sheni is going to be provision for his son. The son will take the monetary equivalent of the Ma'aser Sheni. The father will redeem the Ma'aser Sheni onto money. The son will take the money to Yerushalayim. And this will provide for his sustenance whilst he's in yeshiva in Yerushalayim. And the idea is that this will encourage the farmer to send his son to yeshiva in Yerushalayim, and the son will be in the presence, in the company of the great tzaddikim and Talmidei Chachamim who are in Yerushalayim, and this way, this will have a positive effect on the son. He'll learn Torah there from the great tzaddikim there. And then when the son comes home, he'll have a positive hashpah on the whole family. and the father, and then the rest of the family. That's what the Rambam says. That's the idea behind the Ma'aser Sheni.
This doesn't go to the Levi and the poor. This is
So one
nothing to-
second.
I thought it's supposed to.
No, so that's the first thing. V'yarti HaKodesh min habayis. That's the first thing. Kodesh is referring to Ma'aser Sheni and Neter Ravai. He says, he declares. That's the first thing he declares. I have removed the Kodesh from the house. Okay? Next. The Gam Yisatig LaLevi. Okay? Anyway, we haven't finished the Rashi, but I'm just saying that's the next part. The Gam Yisatig LaLevi, I've given it to the Levi. That's covering what the farmer has to give to the Levi. Okay, let's finish this Rashi first. V'limetcha, you have the Rashi?
Im shehaya asrotav shel shtei shanim. If you had Ma'aser from 2 years.
Right, that if he delayed, he held on to the Ma'asers of 2 years, meaning from the first year and the second year. V'lo helom Yerushalayim, and he didn't bring them yet to Yerushalayim. He's got to take them out now.
Lam Yerushalayim, and he hadn't brought them up to Yerushalayim. Now he must bring them up.
Right. Meaning, when it comes to the end of the third year, he's got to clear the decks, as they say. Whatever Trumas and Ma'asers and everything still has hanging around, make sure by Erev Pesach of the fourth year, make sure all the respective recipients get what they're supposed to get. And if a Ma'aser Sheni in Ravai, make sure you take it up to Yerushalayim and use it. Okay?
No, V'gam natati l'Levi Ma'aser Rishon, and I've also given to the Levi the Ma'aser Rishon. What's that? Who gives Ma'aser? That the Balabas or the Kohen who gets How did that work?
No. The Israel, the farmer, gives Ma'aser Rishon. It's interesting. It's interesting that nowadays, when they bring they have very large amounts of maestras, so I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I understood that the Levi, the Leviim, because obviously there's some agreement with Tenuva, who are the ones in charge of the what do you call it, agricultural, the distribution of all agricultural produce in the country. I'm not saying it used to be, I think it still is. Anyway, so what did the Rabbanut arrange with the Tenuva that there's a separation of all the Trumas and Maestras which are required. And these Maestras, what they do is they sell the Levi. It's got some, I don't know exactly how it works out. I think it's done through the stock organizations, that what is required to go to the Levi sells it to the zoo. They sell the maestras to the zoo. And this way, there's plenty of good quality produce to be given to the animals. So the Levies, I don't know how they distribute among the Levim, I don't know. But the Maisa, this way the Levi gets the money, they sell it, the produce to the zoo. The zoo has plenty of supply of good quality fruit and vegetables for the animals. And the Levim are happy because they get money for it rather than having to have the headache of trying to get rid of their huge amounts of produce.
I'm going to have to go. I want you to have a good Shabbos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor, you carry on.
Okay, so let's see, we're at
We're up to the second Vagam.
the second Begam. I think I see the first one.
Vagam Nesativ LaLevi, Ze Ma'aser Rishon.
Why don't I
You have
see?
it?
No, hold on one second, please. The second Vigam. I have Vigam L'Rabot Trumot V'Kurot.
That's right. That's exactly where we're up to.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so I also,
Vagam, it could have possibly just said, could have just said, Unesativ LaLevi. I have given it to the Levi. What's Vagam? And also. Now she says the rabbi's truma
oh, so
will be
they
kurim. That includes truma and bikurim, meaning if a farmer has truma or bikurim, which he hasn't yet, truma hasn't yet given to the kohen, or bikurim he hasn't yet brought to Yerushalayim to the Beis Hamikdash, then before Erev Pesach of the fourth year, he's got to make sure to do so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. By the way, bikurim, we mentioned this before, that bikurim lechatchila, in the first instance, should be brought between Shavuos and Sukkot. And failing that, the farmer didn't manage to bring it by Sukkot, he can still bring it till Hanukkah. But then, between Sukkot and Hanukkah, he doesn't make the recitation, because he can't say v'samachta v'chol hatov. But he still brings the bikurim, and he waves the bikurim, and he gives it to the kohen. After Hanukkah, there's no more bringing bikurim till the next cycle, till the following Shavuos.
Okay. Next one is Vilager Liatom Ulalamana. To the orphan, to the convert, I'm sorry, orphan and the widow. Zeh Maaser Ani. Oh, this is.
This refers to Maaser Ani. Because that's what we had in the previous pasuk.
Right.
So
right.
The second tithe in the third year, rather being Ma'aser Sheni, which is taken to Yerushalayim, it's got to be given to the poor person. That's Ma'aser On. Okay. Like all your commandments that you have commanded me. So what does that mean?
Okay, Nitatim v'sidran.
I gave them his sidron.
In their order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, lo higdamti truma lebikurim. I did not put truma ahead of the first fruits, lebikurim. Okay. Below maaser truma, nor maaser truma. So maaser are just the tithes. It says ahead of truma.
One second. ולא הקדמתי תרומה לביקורים ולא מעשה לתרומה. ולא שני לראשון.
Not the second.
Meaning I gave them in the correct order. The order has to be as follows. First bikurim, because bikurim means the first fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Then truma, then ma'aser rishon, then ma'aser sheni. Basically, that's it. Yeah. So that's what he says. I've done like all your commandments means I've given it in the correct order.
Right.
Starting Kisukim, I gave the right order. I didn't put truma before bikurim, but rather bikurim first. I didn't give ma'aser rishon before truma, but truma first. Sheni l'rishon, I didn't give ma'aser sheni before ma'aser rishon, but rather rishon first, then sheni. Okay, Shahat Truma Kruya Rashis. Truma is called Rashis, meaning she Rishona Shanasa Doga. Means as soon as it's become, you piled it up as a pile of grain in the granary, then the first thing you separate is Truma. And then it says, Uksiv, another pasuk, Meleoscha v'dimacha lo yisa'acher. Which Rashi means Meleoscha is referring to Bikurim, and Dimacha, your Truma, lo yisa'acher, do not delay bringing them, which means do not bring them out of order. Bring them in that order. Meleoscha meaning Bikurim, and then followed by Truma. And Chazal learn how to add in afterwards by Rishon, then afterwards Meister Sheva. Lo tishanes haseder, don't change the order. Okay, there's actually more Rashi over here, and if you start that Rashi, I have a lot to say on that. So I think we'll leave it here.
Okay, yes,
Okay? Fine.
Very good.
Okay, have a very good Shabbos.
Have a good
Sorry.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Lou, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Be well.
Okay,
Be
very
well,
good.
Yechiel. You want to call me now? You wanted to speak to me. You called me yesterday, Yechiel. So call me now. Call me now at home. Okay? I'll call you. Okay.
Okay, be well, everyone. Have a good Shabbos.